Very good morning. Our next is circular element is resistance. So you know very well what is resistance, which oppose the flow of charges across the conducting material, right? Anywhere, whenever you apply a current to a material that try to oppose or to resist those flow of electrons. So resistance is actually a material property. Okay, it depend upon the material. So value of resistance will change as you change the material. So we can say that it is the independent of voltage and current. Okay, so it depend upon material. According to the Ohm's law, V is directly proportional to I and given by like this. And in this circuit point of view, we represent a resistance like this zigzag symbol, right? So this one is your resistance, current I and voltage across here. Mathematically, a resistance is given by like this. Resistance is directly proportional to the L upon A, and that is equal to rho L upon A. Rho is the resistivity of a material. The unit of resistivity is a ohm meter. Resistivity is inversely proportional to the conductivity, right? And resistance is inversely proportional to the conductance, right? The unit of conductance are mho, just reverse to the resistance. Power across resistance is given by voltage into current, and that can be written as V square upon R if you put I is equal to V upon R here, and again similarly in the form of current. And the energy is given by the integration of power. For that time duration, you will get the energy energy absorbed by this resistance during this time duration, because power is equal to energy per unit time. So if you if you integrate power with respect to time for that duration, you will get the energy. So I am not going in detail because already you know very well about the resistance. Next is your inductance. Inductance is actually a property of coil. Like resistance is the property of material. So every material will give you some opposition to the flow of charge carrier. Similarly, inductance, it is a coil. When you take a coil like this, okay, there are some n number of turns, and it is represented by L. So inductance is the property of coil. When current will flow, you know very well, as per right hand thumb rule, like this thumb represents the direction of current, okay, and this curl of finger that representing the direction of flux rotating. Let me tell you like this. If current is flowing in this direction, then apply the right hand thumb rule. So this thumb direction is a current, and the finger which are curling your this like this, holding the conductor, that tells you the direction of your field like this. So the direction of flux across this. So this magnetic flux which is induced across your conducting wire, that will be used to store the energy in the coil. So now how it stores? When current is flowing in this coil, the flux will link across this coil, and due to the flux, if there is a rate of change in current, and then there is a rate of change in flux, and due to change in flux, back EMF will be induced. So that back EMF is actually further resists the instantaneous change in the current through the coil. So I hope you know very well, so I'm not going in detail. So let me tell you about the inductance in the circuit point of view. Clear? So it stores energy in magnetic field. It influences the circuit only when I changes. Okay, it does not allow the instantaneous change of current through it. Whenever we have connected a coil in a circuit, we cannot change the current instantaneously due to this flux linkage, right? Faraday law will be coming here, and you know very well what the Faraday says. So now the circuit point of view, because we are going to study the various circuit which includes the inductance, so it is very important to understand the circuit point of view of inductor. So inductor is represented like this coil. Suppose voltage source is connected here and current is flowing this. So voltage in an inductor is given by V is equal to L. L is the inductance whose unit is Henry, right? And rate of change of current, L di over dt. Graphically also we can represent voltage, and x-axis will represent this, and inductance is given by this line. So it represents whenever there is rate of change of current, then only you will observe the inductance. Whenever you will get the voltage across the inductor. Otherwise, if suppose in the DC case, DC current case, there di over dt is equal to 0, right? So in that case, voltage across your inductor will be 0 in case of DC. Voltage will be 0, it means it behave like a short circuit. It behave like a short circuit, and current flow infinitely through this, passing through. Whatever the value is coming, that as it is will pass through this inductor. So it behave like a short circuit in the case of DC. So let me tell you how we can find out the current. Clear? And the current, so if the voltage and current have this kind of relation, because voltage is equal to proportional to the rate of change of current with respect to time, so we can find out the current by integrating the voltage. So take L in this side 1 by L and integrate voltage with respect to time from minus infinite to t. Always remember minus infinite to t. Now I will tell you the meaning of this minus infinite. Because inductor is the energy storage element, right? So before connecting to a circuit, if it is charged, okay, it stored some energy. Suppose initially you have given some energy, and then you are connecting this inductor in the circuit. Then definitely whenever you connect this diagram is drawn over here. You can see here voltage source. This switch is given over here, which is closed, which is going to close that t is equal to 0, and inductor is connected over here. Now you can see when this switch is closed. When switch is closed, if inductor have stored energy previously, like, then the total amount of current that will flow in this circuit, that will be due to, one is due to this connected voltage source, and other component will be due to the energy stored in this inductor. So that we have to consider, that is to analyze a circuit, right? Clear? So let me tell you how we can calculate. I is given by like this. So integration is a linear operator which can be break down into the different limits. So this one is the minus infinity to t. So I am closing the switch as t is equal to 0. So before, from minus infinity to 0, this holds some amount of energy. The stored energy will exist in this inductor. So that we have to consider. So I am breaking this limit into minus infinity to 0 and 0 to t. So this portion, this component in this current equation is known as the initial current. So whatever the energy it has already, the current flowing due to that is known as the initial current, plus as it is 0 to t. So in the numericals or in the circuit in future, you will see if the value of initial current is given to you, you will directly ask in numerical if inductor has initial current value like this, I0 minus. Just 0 minus is representing as before closing this switch as t is equal to 0. It tell us before 0 whatever the current, that is the value of current due to this energy stored in the inductor is given to you, 2 ampere, 3 ampere, like this. The value will be given to you. If value is not given to you, other parameters are given to you. So you have to find out this. So whenever you see an inductor in a circuit and you are doing an analysis, always remember these components. The initial value is given to you, so you have to consider. If not given to you, then you can take it as 0 and you can consider that inductor is not initially charged. Clear? So next is your capacitance. So you can see capacitance. What does it mean? Capacitance means it represents the capacity of a capacitor, means how much amount of charge that can be stored inside a capacitor. Clear? It tells us amount of charges that can be stored at a given voltage is called as capacitance. So it is represented like this parallel plate, and we represent in the circuit like C, and unit of capacitance are farad. Clear? And already you know very well C is equal to charge per volume, charge divided by volume. Clear? And the current across capacitor is equal to C dV over dt. And voltage across capacitor, this is your capacitor, then this one is your current. Clear? So you have connected some voltage here. This one is your V. Then voltage across this one is VC. Clear? So current is given by capacitance into rate of change of voltage. In inductor it was L into di over dt, but in case of capacitance, sorry, that was voltage, here we have current. So just reverse relation. So capacitance tells us amount of charge that can be stored. So I is equal to C dV over dt, and voltage is given by, you know, there is a differentiation of voltage. So when you are going to find out voltage, you have to integrate current. So C will come over here and you are integrating from minus infinity to t. So you know very well C is also energy storage device. Energy storage element. Right? It stores energy. It stores energy in electric field. Okay, so it is the basic difference between inductance and capacitance. In inductor, energy was stored in magnetic field. In capacitor, energy is stored in the form of electric field. So similarly, the voltage can be further explained, can be break down into 2 minus infinity to 0 I into dt plus 1 upon C integration of 0 to t I into t. So this represent your 1 upon C integration of I, that is Q, charge. Okay, because you know very well current is equal to dq over dt. If you integrate this equation, you will get Q. If you integrate this one, okay, if I, you will get the charge. So I am writing here Q charge plus 1 upon C 0 to t I into dt. So its value will be given to you. So this charge upon capacitance, that is, you know very well this relation, that is equal to you can find out voltage from here. So that is initial voltage plus 1 upon C 0 to t I into dt. So this represent your initial voltage, initial value of the voltage, that is due to the energy stored in the capacitor. So whenever we are going to solve the numerical, we have to consider this parameter if it is given in the problem, right? So let's move to the next one. Next is your series connection and voltage division rule. So you know very well the two elements are said to be series if same current is flowing across them. Now let me tell you how. So I'm taking, suppose I am taking the example of resistance R1 and this one is your R2, which are connected through some voltage source, that is V, right? So current will flow across these two elements will be I. So these are connected in series. How can you identify both are in series? One end of both the element is connected to each other, right? And that's as per definition, we can say two circuit elements are said to be in series if same current flows through the elements. If same current flow, you can see here I will flow across this and this. So these are known as the series connections. So there may be a different element. I have taken the example of resistance. There may be like resistance, capacitor, inductor. So any kind of combination you can come across, clear, which has a series connection where current I is flowing same across these all the elements. Now the series combination, again I am taking the example of resistance. If this one is R1 and R2, its equivalent value will be R1 plus R2. Similarly, in the case of inductors, if inductors L1, L2, then total inductance connected in series, then L1 plus L2. Similarly for capacitor, if they are connected like this, then equivalent C1, C2. For capacitor case, just reverse of these. So C of equivalent is equal to 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2. Or directly you can write C of equivalent C1, C2 divided by C1 plus C2. I hope already you know about these components. So I'm not going in detail. Let's come to the voltage division rule. When the combination of like this resistance, capacitance and inductance, so R, C and L, then you have to find out in the case of where resistance is involved, and these portion will be act as a reactance. So you have to find out impedance. So you just write C is equal to find out X of C, that is 1 upon J omega C. You can find out this J omega L. Then you can find out equivalent impedance value of these is R plus 1 upon J omega C plus J omega L. Okay, these kind of problems we will solve when we will analyze, we will synthesize the circuits, right? Let me tell you about the voltage division rule. So next is your voltage division rule. So in the voltage division rule, when two elements are connected in series, so again I am taking the example of two resistances which are connected, R1 and R2. This one is the voltage and current I is flowing across this one. Now you are supposed to find out voltage across R1. Find voltage across R1 and R2. Clear? So how can you find out? Simply, if you find out the voltage, so according to the ohms, voltage is equal to current into resistance. So simply, if you find out the value of current, you can find out voltage across these two components. So let's see the value of current across this element. I is given by voltage, equivalent resistance will be, both are connected in series, so R1 plus R2, voltage upon R1 plus R2, its value of current. Then voltage across R1 is V1 suppose, and voltage across R2 is V2. So V1 is given by R1 into current's value is equal to V upon R1 plus R2, because same current is flowing across them. So voltage into R1 plus R2. Similarly, V2 is given by R2 into current, and that is given by V into R2 upon R1 plus R2. Now some of you may be thinking about this. This one is the very simple. Why it is known as voltage division rule? Actually, this equation, these two equations are very important. We will use these equations frequently while solving the numerical, by solving the derivations, because to save the timing here. You can see here directly, if this circuit is given to you, you can calculate the value of voltage and voltage across these two components without using any pen and paper, if you know about this. So simply what you have to do in voltage division rule, take the voltage, whatever the total voltage applied to those elements, clear? That voltage, if I suppose I want to voltage across this element, V1. So simply direct, I am not using this, the same equation, okay? I have driven the equation, but in the numericals, directly you have to use, let's take an example. Suppose this one is your 10 volt. Okay. This one is 5 ohm, this one is your 10 ohm. So what is the value of current? 10 divided by 15. 10 divided by 15. That is 2/3 ampere. Current is flowing across this. Now you are supposed to find out the voltage across this 5 ohm resistor. So directly by using voltage division rule, just voltage across 5 ohm is equal to total voltage, whatever the voltage across this, multiply by the value of this element 5 divided by total, that is 15. Clear? 10/3, like this. No need to find out current. Clear? Directly you can find out the voltage, because current, you are not calculating the current, you are directly using this method. Again, suppose this current, we have not calculated this. Directly we have to find out the voltage across 10, then 10 ohm, then directly you can write this voltage into this resistance divided by total resistance of the series combination, that is 50, like this. So voltage division rule will be very handy for you while in future when you will solve the numerical problems, especially when very lengthy and critical problems. In those cases, it will be very helpful to you. Clear? So that's why it is known as voltage division rule. Next is your parallel connection and current division rule. So when two elements are said to be parallel, that is when the same voltage appear across them. For example, these two elements E1 and E2 are connected over here. This voltage across these two terminals will be same for E1 and E2. So those, and also both the terminal and the terminals will be connected to each other. Then we can say that these elements will be connected in parallel in the circuit. So I'm not going in detail how to find out equivalent resistance when they are connected in parallel. I hope already these are the prerequisites that you know very well. So generally, let me write up this one for resistance. When two are connected in parallel, then what will be the equivalent resistance? The equivalent resistance, that is equal to R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. How I have written, that is R of equivalent is equal to 1/R 1 and 2. So after solving this, you will get directly this one. So directly also you can write R of equivalent, multiply both the resistance, divide by sum of these resistances. So this one is directly you can write. So let me tell you about the current division rule. Now what does it mean, current division? Whenever suppose I am taking directly the example, two elements, I am taking the resistances, two resistances R1 and R2, and here is some source is connected over here, and current I, as suppose I have given the subscript as to identify, and current R1, that is I1, current across R2, that is I2. Clear? So when you will use the current division rule, when you have to find out current in the parallel branches. Clear? Voltage division rule was applicable when you have to find out voltage across series elements, and current division when we have to find out current across parallel connected elements. So you can find out the current across this R1 and R2 simply because we know the voltage is constant across these them. Clear? If you know the value of voltage across this one, the voltage divided by this resistance, you will get the value of current. So let me solve this one for you. So these are parallel, so R of equivalent will be is equal to R1 into R2 upon R1 plus R2, right? Resistance is known to us. So what is the value of voltage? That is current. Suppose IS is the current flowing in the circuit. current into resistance, that is R1 R2 upon R1 plus R2. Now this one, the voltage is known to us. Now voltage across R2, that is V2. Suppose here the voltage is V2, here voltage is V1. So V2 is given by, what is the value of voltage? That is equal to Vs, because parallel connection is there. Now you have to find out I2. I2 is equal to, how you can find out? Voltage across this terminal, voltage across this R2 divide by its value of resistance. So its voltage is equal to V2 divided by R2. So V2 is equal to Vs. So write down this one, that is Is into R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2 total divided by R2. So this will be cancelled out, and I2 will be Is into R1 divided by R1 plus R2. Similarly, you can find out I1. I1 is equal to Is into R2 upon R1 plus R2. So these are the equation for current division rule. Now let me tell you how you are going to use in the numerical problem. Okay. Suppose here is the voltage source, 5 volt is connected over here, and we have two resistances. Suppose this one is 10 ohm, this one is 20 ohm, right? So you can find out what will be the value of current will be given to you, or you have to find out. So total value of current, take R equivalent of this, that is 10 into 20 upon 30, that is 20 upon 3 ampere. Okay, 20 upon, R equivalent, this one, and 5 divided by 20 upon 3, that is 5 into 3 upon 20, 3 by 4. So its value is 3 by 4 ampere. Right. Now you are supposed to find out this one, suppose I1. Current across this I1 and I2 across these two resistances. So directly by using current division rule, we can find out. Suppose I want to find out I1 across this 10 ohm resistors. So I1 directly I am writing here by using current division rule. Always remember, whenever you have to find out current, first total incoming current, that is 3 by 4 ampere in this case, into multiply by resistance value of opposite branch. Clear? Not take the value of this one. You can see here, when I1 I have calculated, then total incoming current multiply by R2, that is the resistance of opposite branch which is connected parallelly to this one, divided by total resistance, sum of resistances. So multiply by 20 and total divided by sum of 10 plus 20. Clear? I hope you have understood the basic of this current division rule. We are going to use directly these equation in the network. So this calculation that we have done, we can save the time by reducing the total calculation, and also it is easy to calculate. Also, without using any pen and paper, you can find out the value of current through these elements by using current division rules. Okay. So let me move on to the next. Now the Kirchhoff laws. You already know there are two laws given by the Kirchhoff, that is KVL, Kirchhoff voltage law, and KCL, that is known as Kirchhoff current law. So Kirchhoff laws, what is said, first one is the KVL. So KVL, its working principle is based on conservation of energy. So you know very well, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. So how it work on the this principle, let me tell you. Let's take an example. Here the circuit is drawn over here, voltage source is connected and three elements are connected. So what KVL said, that if we take the total, if we take the algebraic sum of all the voltages across different elements, then that should be equal to 0. Why it should be equal to 0? Because the energy that you have supplied here, that will be absorbed by these three components. Clear? We are not creating nor destroying the energy. We are just taking the sum, means how much energy you have supplied, that will be absorbed in the circuit, and total sum that will be is equal to 0. That is source plus sink is equal to 0. Simply, so it states that algebraic sum of all branch voltages across any closed path in a circuit is always 0. So let's take an example here. Suppose current I is flowing across here. You can also represent like this one. It represents loop. So write down, we are going from negative to positive. Always remember, when in the circuit, when we are applying the KVL, when we are moving from negative to positive, take positive sign. So voltage V, okay, negative to positive. Now current is entering in this resistance. So this will be your positive terminal, this will be your negative. Clear? Always remember, when also the current is entering here, so that will be positive, that will be negative. Positive, negative. Because these are power absorbing elements. Now whenever there are power absorbing elements, direction of current will be incoming at positive terminal to those elements. That's why we take positive here and negative here. So current is entering from this terminal, so write down. Now when you are moving from positive to negative, clear? Sign will be negative. When you are moving from negative to positive, the sign will be positive. Clear? So we have moved from negative to positive here, so voltage is positive. Now we are moving from positive to negative here. So what is the value of voltage across this one? So suppose I is flowing across here. That is minus. This sign is coming because we are moving from positive to negative. Minus I into R1. Similarly here, minus I into R2. Similarly here, minus I into R3 is equal to 0. So the voltage is equal to, I have taken common, I1 plus R2 plus R3. Clear? So like this, you have to apply KVL whenever you see a loop. So it said algebraic sum of all voltages across different elements is equal to 0. So this is represented like this. Similarly, you can take example of KCL. So KCL works on conservation of charges. This difference always remember. KVL work on conservation of energy. KCL works on conservation of charge. Charge can neither be created nor be destroyed. They can only be transformed from one form to another. That's it. The sum of all currents at any node is equal to 0. Algebraic sum. Algebraic sum of all currents at a node is equal to 0. It is stated by KCL. So KCL means, suppose you have a node. The node where two or more elements are connected. Suppose like this. Here current I is coming, I1 is coming. Here current I2 is coming. Here current I3 is outgoing. So algebraic sum of currents. Clear? So algebraic sum here you can see, as per KCL, if you take the sum of current at this node, that is total incoming current. Incoming current is equal to outgoing current. So incoming current are I1, this node, okay, where two or more elements are connected. So I1 plus I2, outgoing current I have taken the negative sign is equal to 0. Okay, so always remember, whenever you are applying KCL at a node, the total incoming current I1 plus I2 will be equal to total outgoing current. So whenever you are writing in a one equation, then take positive sign for an incoming and negative sign for outgoing. So this one is the KCL law. So I am stopping here, and some of the basics I will cover in the next lecture, and then we will move on to the nodal and mesh analysis. Thank you.